Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Tonight we're Board of Supervisors, April 12th, 2023 meeting. I would ask please rise for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. In accordance with Resolution 2, 2012, your form that Scott Fields from Vincent Drive is recording tonight's meeting for posting on YouTube. This meeting is also available and recorded electronically on the Zoom platform. Has anyone dialed in?
We have one person dialed in there. Okay.
Good evening. All right. Bear with me for a second. And okay, what we'll do is we'll go to our open forum on action items on the agenda tonight. So I'm going to turn to this side of the room. Any questions or comments on what's on the agenda? On this side. Yes, go ahead. And your name and your street. I'm sorry. Certainly.
It's on your, it's in icons.
Here we go.
You want me to read them? You want to read these?
Doing the whole work, yes?
Just,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, yes, so for clarification, if you bear with us for a moment. Okay, the Underwood Town Board of Supervisors rules of conduct for public meetings. The following rules shall apply to conduct of public meetings held by the board, commissions, and committees of Hunter Township. Chairperson, or in his absence, the vice chair or appointed individual shall preside over all meetings of boards, commissions, and committees. The presiding officer shall control the order of business and conduct and conduct of all of the meetings, including but not limited to public comment from township residents and taxpayers. And prior to taking official action on items appearing on the agenda, presiding officer shall provide a reasonable opportunity for residents and/or taxpayers of Hunter Township to make comments limited to matters under consideration, subject to procedures set forth below in item 4. We'll go to item 3 is a reasonable opportunity for public comment for non-action items and matters of concern, official action or deliberation not appearing on the agenda for residents and for taxpayers of Hunter Township shall be held at each advertised meeting of the boards, commissions, committees, subject to the procedures set forth below in item 4. This comment period shall be limited to a total of 30 minutes inclusive of all speakers. Presiding officer shall preside over all public comment and may, in his or her own discretion, recognize individuals wishing to offer comment. Require identification by name and address of each individual wishing to make comment. Allocate available time among all individuals wishing to comment. Interrupt or terminate a person's statement when the statement is too lengthy, personally incorrect, abusive, obscene, irrelevant, township business, scandalous, impertinent, or redundant of other comments, or any comments that is discernible purpose of which is to disrupt or prevent the conduct of the business of the meeting. Request individuals to leave the meeting room and the township building or direct removal by township personnel if individuals engage in loud, boisterous, unruly, disorderly, offensive, or threatening speech or conduct after verbal warning from the presiding officer and end the public comment period at any time when the lack of public decorum so interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting so as to warrant such action. Okay. And then we have a few more items to wrap it up. The time allocated at each individual making a comment shall be 3 minutes. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No participant may address or question the board, commission, committee, or township staff. The presiding officer may recognize and permit his or her discretion non-residents and non-taxpayers in the township to make public comments. Finally, in the event there is not sufficient time for public comment, the presiding officer may defer the public comment period to the next regular meeting of the board, commission, or committee. And it says, rules last revised June 8th, 2023. Okay. Do you have any questions or comments on that? Okay. As far as timekeepers,
I have a method volunteer if you would like.
okay. I can do that. Any questions on that, what I just read? All right. Looks good. Give me a second to do that. Here we go. Yes. So, stopwatch. Start. Please go ahead.
Hi, Valerie Schultz, 165 Caitlin Court. A couple of comments. I see that you're going to be discussing some saldo changes. I wonder if before you guys vote on that, if you could please let the residents know what those changes are in detail. And then I also had some comments about the meeting minutes. For land preservation and maintenance fund discussion, I think greater detail is needed there, other than just discussion of those abilities occurred by supervisors. I think it's very important for you to capture in the meeting minutes that Tracy was supporting the use of 25% of this land preservation fund for Parks and Rec, while John had requested that this be put forward to the residents as a referendum to get them to vote on that and approve that, since that was not what they originally had voted to have those funds used for back when the referendum was passed. And I also want to point out on page 10 that the comments that I made the last meeting about the meeting minutes were not captured. The only thing that it says here on item number 1 under D is concerns about details in the February meeting minutes were mentioned by Valerie Schultz, and those concerns and those additions were not captured in the meeting minutes. So I think, we need to make sure that these meeting minutes have the details in them and capture what is discussed, and that there are no inadvertent or intentional omissions of any kind. And if, that would maybe be a consideration, maybe we need to consider whether or not, there could be public meeting minutes that are captured as well, because I feel like there's a lot of detail that's being left out of these. Thanks.
Thanks for your comment. So we do post we're required to post these meeting minutes 48 hours in advance, so you have the opportunity to look at them, and what it is appropriate to make a comment on, the agenda items if you feel that they're not reflecting the previous meeting that were approved. Any comments from the board? Anyone else on the side of the room? Any comments on the agenda? Yes, I see you. Go right ahead.
Susan Jones, 20 Cupola Road, Honeybrook. I just heard about the Dollar General. I see you're going to be voting on something tonight. I live right on the corner of Cupola. I don't know what the distance is, but I'm really close, and I heard nothing between planning or zoning or anything. But just a couple things to consider. They're asking for the variance of 65 spaces to 28, obviously because they're building a big building that requires 68 spots. If they build a building that requires 28 spots, then there would be no reason for the variance for that. Also, by doing that, it would allow those 3 spots for the truck to turn around, would not be hindered in any way. So basically, a smaller building will match the amount of parking spaces that they would be requiring. If it is awarded, that they get the buyout variance, you're giving them that, what has the builder offered something in return? In other words, you're giving them the variance, what are they going to give you? Are they going to put money into a traffic light at Burdell and 322, where there's been numerous accidents? Are they gonna put money into the sewer system? Obviously, our sewer system is getting worse and worse with every development. And when they go to rehab that sewer system, the repairs are gonna fall on us. We're not the ones doing all the extra big building. The builders coming in, they should be held accountable and to be putting something in it as well. Basically, just don't overload the residents and ask the builder to possibly consider a smaller building. And then it'll quantify or go to the amount of parking spaces that they're looking for. Thank you.
Just sort of think about.
Yeah, Paul Hayden, 124 Gleason Road. Val had mentioned the saldo, and I realize it's only voting for review, but is it an extensive change, or is it something you can just read to us what the change is?
Well, when I've looked through the changes, they're quite extensive, but the most extensive in that there's several items there. A lot of them is corrective changes. There's some specific references that were referred to in a general sense, and it was just changing words. I mean, I did find one case where we called something out and there was no change in it, so I hope the cleanup of that salvo items.
Is there somewhere we can see it? Can we come to the township building and read the changes, or is it, you're gonna wait till it gets approved?
Okay, so did we post that on the website?
The actual amendment?
Yes.
No, I mean, just in terms of procedure, we'll get to it on the agenda, but essentially, what's before the board tonight is a draft that staff, mostly Mike's office and my office, put together that is, as you referenced, largely cleanup in nature of some things that needed to be updated.
Okay,
And so what's on the agenda tonight is a motion to send that to the Township Planning Commission and the County Planning Commission.
For review.
They're required to go through a review process, and that would happen before it came back to the board. The board would then have to authorize advertising of the ordinance, and then the night it was actually enacted, several months from now, there would be a public hearing prior to an actual ordinance enactment. So there's a lot of steps that
Okay.
flow before we would
so
actually.
there was a couple of words, I just figured you could tell us, but it sounds like it's a little
It's
extensive.
not a couple words, but it's not, a lot of it is a couple words here and a couple words
Verbiage.
there. They're just clarifying language and things that have, in implementing it, caused some heartache, or this needs to be clearer so that, we have the best tools to enforce what's on the books.
Thank you.
I think that should include public comment. Okay.
Is there anyone on Zoom?
There's one person on Zoom, but they're able to unmute themselves and do it like off.
Let's just take a moment. Oh, I see that. Yeah,
Sorry,
go ahead.
yeah, basically, my neighbors here who spoke tonight, they speak my mind as well, so please take that into consideration, that they're not the only ones that share these concerns. I think a lot of other people tonight probably bring those same concerns, but, may not be speaking up, and, Dollar General, no thank you. Saldo changes, I'm very curious about what those are substantively, and, Land Preservation Committee money, people have brought that, asked me questions about that, and, I was reminded, that's, the parks usage is not what I voted for either, so, thank you.
I say the updates to the township map on the land preservation effort, we have them up on the wall from the last meeting. Were those the maps that you presented?
Yes, they are.
Good.
Yeah.
So in case you're wondering what wall that green is showing, that's the reserve farms part of the land preservation program. Okay, we move to the consent agenda, approve the board of supervisors, this March 1st, 2023 workshop and March 8th, 2023 regular meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
A quick point of order, Mr. Chairman. Item 11 was not received, so I would ask that any motion to approve the consent agenda be for items 1 through 10 only.
All right. Do I hear a motion to accept the consent agenda items 1 through 10?
I'll make a motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We'll now go to the department reports. We'll start off Public Works.
Don did give me a report, I just wanted to.
Oh, okay.
Technical difficulties, sorry. Okay. Don let us know that the roads crew has cleared out ditches on Supplee, Forest, Tellettville, Gibbon, Pleasant View, and Buchanan roads. They plan to do more later on in the summer. Patching of roads will take place the first or second week of May. And the Beaver Dam stormwater job began yesterday and should take a couple of weeks, weather permitting, of course. And that is all that Don had to report.
And, go ahead with the administrative report.
Thank you. The township received a nice thank you from the Elverson Honeybrook EMS for hosting the hands-only CPR training that was here on March 25th. There were 30 people that came out. And I wish to remind everybody that they are having CPR training this Saturday from 9 to 3. That has a cost to it, $70 payable by cash or check, and pre-registration is required at education@ehbems.org. They also asked that we save the date of June 24th, which will be their open house at their Elverson station, and details will follow later. The Honeybrook Community Partnership met yesterday. Plans are coming together for Harmony Day, which is September 16, mark your calendars. The concept will be that there will be a variety of locations throughout the township to serve as a host, and it's sort of a passport kind of concept. The Recreation and Park Board has been invited to consider what they would like to offer on that day. The partnership will also be installing the newly printed logos for the nonprofits, the 4 welcome signs, in the coming weeks. A municipal GIS data working group has now met twice to identify issues with parcel data that the county has made available through Chesco Views, and coming up with proposed solutions. The goal is to come up with a comprehensive list of issues and solutions to benefit everyone, and then meet with the county GIS department for implementation. This was started by a gentleman at the Borough of Westchester, and so far we have about 8 folks that have met twice. PSATS is coming in less than 2 weeks, and all of our supervisors will be there, and John has volunteered to be the township flag bearer. I will be receiving my Municipal Government Academy certificate on Monday morning, and my address and workshop will be Tuesday afternoon at 1:15. I received word from the Chester County Association of Township Officials that they are providing an evening reception each of Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday evening, as well as lunch on Monday and Tuesday. So I'm going to need a head count from the 3 of you for all of those. Feel free to come to one or all, just let me know. And that is all I have.
All right, thank you, Christine, and congratulations on that certification. We'll now turn to our township manager, Juan.
Sure. I'll ask you to just accept my manager's report as written. I do have some other items to discuss. These had come up in previous meetings. First are 2 AEDs are in Honeybrook, Elverson. They'll be coming out here. There'll be installations occurring, and if the board remembers, when we approve these purchases, someone from Honeybrook, Elverson EMS will come in once they're installed, either before or after a township meeting, and any resident, the board, staff, will get a quick hands-on demonstration of how to use them, and we'll show them where they're at in the township building. Second, township engineer, township solicitor, and myself met with residents of the Foxbrook HOA last week. We did a site walkthrough, had some discussions on site, and while the position of the Foxbrook HOA has not changed, that they are not in support of parkland on that parcel. They came to an understanding of the township's position that I think we need some type of sketch plan drawn by a landscape architect, so that there's a visual representation what could occur, and that might help drive the decision or discussion with the board, whether the board is interested in pursuing anything, or if they believe that this parcel is not suitable for a parkland. We have hired Chuck Stradowski at YSM, who's doing our jump humble plan part. That was already approved, this budget amount in the 2023 budget. And again, the Board of Supervisors, as you recall, gave Beth and I some permission to do some due diligence. So again, the Foxborough HOA's position is that they still don't want a park there. I do need to talk to someone before they leave from the Foxborough HOA, because the landscape architect would like to walk the site April 26th or 28th, just to get a site visit to see what's going on. He will be doing a feasibility study. He's going to use GS data, some soil wetland studies, prepare base maps from GIS information and LiDAR topographic information, and he's going to develop 2 sketch drawings to demonstrate what can fit on the site, and then he will turn that over to us. Second, there was a request for the board to consider taking over Cambridge Road, which is a PennDOT-owned state highway. I have spoken with the Director of Public Works, Don Johnson. He and I have driven the roadway, starts on 322, crosses over Route 10, and goes out to the next county. It's approximately 2.8 miles in length. The public road master was not opposed to taking it. There is a process that we go through. It's rather lengthy, but it would be us reaching out to PennDOT, indicating that we're interested in it, meet with a turnback coordinator. We would then actually do a scope of work with PennDOT. So essentially we can ask that they repair the road and turn it into a condition that the township would be willing to accept. And then if we can come to an agreement on that, then they would provide funds. We could operate the construction at their cost. Once that was done, we would do a municipal resolution, sign a turnback agreement, have their recorded be transferred over, proof service of the transfer to the district PennDOT representative, and then fill out a bunch of forms. Just as a note that we would not receive funding, the liquid fuels, for the first 2 years if we would take ownership. And currently, liquid fuels reimburses the township $4,000 per mile per year to assist in the maintenance costs. Now, when we drove the roadway, it looks like it's going to be quite extensive with the repair of their stormwater and pipe work that would have to be done. So we have a contractor who does many state contracts to drive the road and just give us a best estimate of what they believe it would be, which would kind of give us a starting point when the board is interested in moving forward to discuss what we would want from PennDOT before we'd be interested in taking it. I will note there is a Chester County bridge on that roadway which we would not take ownership of, so we'd be able to pave up to the padding of it, but if the board is interested, we can look into that further. We also had a request for 85 North Street. That is a abandoned cemetery that the township entered into an agreement in 1978 to provide maintenance of headstones. Don Johnson, as far as he has been here, close to 45 plus years, has always recalled us maintaining the entirety of the property. There's 2 abandoned cemeteries, so we've done maintenance. We have a request for a resident to take down 2 trees in the right of way. Don has looked at it and believes that the trees are not causing an issue at this point. It would be my recommendation that the board just allows Don and I to continue to maintain visual on it, and if we believe it is in need of taking down the trees, again, we have the legal right to do that in the right of way. Third, we've had residents inquiring about putting some type of roadway traffic improvement at Chestnut Tree and Route 322. I have spoken with Senator Muse's office, a representative from Dan Williams' office, PennDOT local representative, and I are playing phone tag. And we have talked about, and I've conversed with our township engineer engineer about steps that we can do it. I believe the belief is that currently there is a few highway occupancy permits that are out there, one for a development, industrial park in West Amfield, that would trip if they do additional phases, road improvements that are already on the books with that intersection. Secondly, if Dale Gordon comes in, PennDOT might require them to do road improvements at that intersection as part of their improvement program, as we'd be attaching driveways to PennDOT roads. That intersection is a little complicated because it borders 3 municipalities. Part of it's in West Enfield, part of it's in West Brandywine, and part of it's in Brook. The understanding is that we can initiate a traffic study as a township. Both representatives said it would be in our best interest to work with the other municipalities and cost share. Mike just kind of explained that the township can elect to do road improvements, even though there are PennDOT roadways. The cost would fall solely on the township if we elect to take the opportunity to do road improvements. Neither Mike nor Beth's office has ever done a improvement that touches 3 separate municipalities. Mike and I have spoken. Mike has a traffic engineer that could do a very high-level overview for a few $1,000s to kind of take a view of that intersection and maybe make some recommendations, some suggestions of paths forward, which might give the township starting points to maybe have some further discussion of what might be needed. And finally, we have a zoning hearing coming up involving Telhai that the Township Board of Supervisors have had several executive sessions on agreements. It's my recommendation to have Beth Cole, the Township Solicitor, go to provide some the Township's Board of Supervisors point of view at that zoning hearing. And that is what I have.
Thank you. We'll now move to Land Preservation Committee. Shane, do you have any updates?
Yep, just a quick update. We've got lots of new outreach underway right now. Lots of new interest coming in for the program. Prior to the start of the pandemic, we were getting about 400 acres a year under permanent preservation. So those acres were turning green up here and becoming permanently protected from development. We're hoping to get back up to that pace. Thank you for getting the maps up in the back of the room. The story these tell is kind of the progression from the before the program existed and about halfway through. And this is the present day right here. So as you can see, we've got a good bit of green built up, but there's still a lot of white space on there that is potential for being protected. We'd love to get as much as possible done. The next meeting will be next week, Tuesday, the 18th, 7 p.m. right here. Everybody's welcome to show up and ask questions. And one more thing about those last couple of years up there. When this program was really running, we had, for every $1 of township tax money spent, on average, we'd get $3 from other sources to help fund those projects. So with our partnerships with Chester County, Brandywine Conservancy, and a number of other organizations, we were really getting a lot of bang for our buck in making this happen. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Shane, I have a question for how many pending applications have we had for
The applications aren't due until August, so there's lots of things still in progress. I'm not sure yet. I've spoken to a couple different farmers and referred them to John Goodall and Jeff Shellington, who really handle that application process.
Thank you. We'll now go to planning commissions. I see we have a few people in the audience. Mike, would you want to?
Sure. Yes, we have, for this month at our meeting, we have the discussion of the saldo amendments, which we briefly talked about. We'll go going a little later in the meeting. We also have another subdivision plan for Calvary Chapel that'll be reviewed and a review letter generated for that planning commission meeting as well. So I think that's all we have in this moment for the meeting. So Gary, did you have anything else to add? Okay. And I think we have a couple items on the agenda, we'll get into that in a moment as far as recommendations from this past month.
All right. Do we have anyone from the Recreation Parks? No?
Know that I do want to remind everyone that the spring cleanup day will be on Saturday, April 29th. Meet here in the parking lot at 8:30, and they'll distribute vests and gloves and trash bags, and everybody will fan out and pick up trash from 9 to noon.
All right, thank you. All right, now let's go to new business. So the first item, we have approved and approved the list of bills for payments prepared by the treasurer. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second item, take a position, no position, no support for the zoning hearing variance application 2023-4 by Dollar General, 3073 Horseshoe Pike, tax parcel number 22-8-32.2, which requests one, the variance of section 27-909G, 1B1 of the zoning ordinance of 2018 as amended in order to allow a reduction in the required parking from 65 spaces to 28 spaces, to ADA compliant, 26 standard. Item 2, section 2, a variance to section 27914P 1B in order to allow a 4 foot by 6 inch by 33 by 3 inch, 30 by 3 inches. This says it better, 150 square foot wall sign, where a maximum of the 50 square foot wall sign is permitted, and a variance in section 27-910D 1A and 912A 1A in order to allow truck circulation pattern accessing the loading and trash areas to interfere with 3 proposed parking spaces. All right. Yes. Okay, I'll recognize, go ahead, please.
Hi, how are you?
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is William Lohman, Vice President of Pentex Ventures, with VP of Engineering and Permitting. Here also is Dennis with HRG, or our civil engineer. As you indicated, there's a couple planning commission members, I've grown to know them over the past couple of meetings. I've presented this project at. And this project is a challenge, we get it. I can tell you, well, I'm running right now about 150 different projects. So dogfights is not what I do. So number one, we're going to withdraw the various requests here. A couple different things, and I'd like to see your feedback. And if I could, just have really an open general forum here. Hear from residents. I see we have a couple planning members. I'd love to hear from the supervisors as well. A couple different ideas. Number one, we're going to go back to Dollar General. We're going to ask them, would you consider 7,500 square foot here? I can say with 99% surety, they're going to say no. Just because that store is utilized in very urban contexts. It's not utilized in places like Honeycomb Township. That said, during the planning commission, we were informed, hey, why didn't you consider this other site or this other site? We'd like to, again, just keep that discussion going on where these other sites are, and possibly pursue some of those other sites. Lastly, and this is something I think Dollar General would be interested in, they're starting a new program. Everyone knows, the big yellow sign. They're actually starting 2 different programs. The one that I think would fit well here is called the Market. And basically what it is, it doesn't say Dollar General on it anywhere. It's got a little DG, the letters in the corner, and Market. In essence, what it is a shopping, or a supermarket, almost think like a mini Target or a really mini Walmart. We'll have fresh fruit, produce, meats, cheeses, frozen section, all the same stuff, that you can see at a grocery store. And it also would have some, other things, seasonal items, things you would see, typically see at Dollar. So again, 2 things. One, we're going to withdraw the application for what's there. And I'd like to get everyone's feedback, if we could, on do I push DG really hard and do a 7,500 here? Or is there, do you believe, a need or a desire to have something like this DG Market concept, which would be the first one in the eastern part of PA, or only Tennessee. I have one working on in Delaware right now. If that's the concept you'd be interested in. And if so, we're going to start trying to find a site that'll work better. Because obviously, it would not fit. So that's kind of my spiel. Again, I'm way outnumbered here. I got kids, we're gonna make that to Pittsburgh at some point. Yeah. I want to take these. Yeah, it's fortunate. But anyway, that's my spiel. I'd love to hear your feedback. If we could take some comments or suggestions from residents, we'd love to hear that. I'm here to listen tonight, get your feedback, and figure out a plan forward.
So Mike, would you like to start on that, or?
I guess my only suggestion or comment would be, the action tonight was on the variances that are before you. If they're withdrawing variances, there's really no action to be taken on this agenda. Talk about the concept of revising.
Can I jump in one second?
Let me finish, I'm almost done. I would suggest sending them back to the planning commission for, if they want to have a sketch plan discussion or some kind of new rendering. I think I would want to hear the feedback from the planning commission versus just a new conversation tonight when we don't really have something before us.
A little blindsided by.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I don't know if I have much input for you tonight based on this change. This so that's my only comment.
Comment from the board?
I agree with Mike, sounds like that you go back to the planning commission.
Okay, two things.
Go ahead.
Can you still write your recommendation? I know what your recommendation will be. For the zoning, just because I can take that to Dollar General, because I have a lease, I have to say, well, planning is against it, the board is against it. I have to withdraw. So I would request it if you could.
So you're withdrawing it tomorrow, not right now?
Say again?
You're gonna withdraw it tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll write official letters.
Okay, so right now it's still on the
So
table?
it's still on the table,
If
okay.
you- if it's good, I guess that's
Yeah,
procedural matter.
absolutely.
You need them to give you the authorization to
Yeah,
actually
that's
withdraw.
I need something to
Now.
show them, not a lease.
Right, I thought you were withdrawing before they even had a chance to vote. So
Yes.
That's fine, I understand.
They might love it.
Say again? I've been on an awful lot of these meetings.
I know.
I can read the road pretty well, and I'm not getting that sense.
I think the board's prepared to make a motion or take a position. Do I hear take a position of support, no position, or no support?
No support for any of it.
No support. Do I hear a second?
I'll say.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
What are your thoughts on the market? What's your thought on the market concept? Is that something that you would see rather than a Dollar General typically, as board members?
I don't know if the board even knows what a DG market is yet.
Okay.
I don't think anyone really knows. So I would say maybe there's a little more into it, right?
It's basically a market.
I mean, if it's a categorical no without question, maybe tell them now, right? I mean, save the time and energy, but if you need more information, that's a fair answer, being kind of.
Are you saying on that site or just in general?
No, it would not fit on this side. This side, your only option for this site is a 7,500, which again, is 99% sure. So I'm gonna be looking for a different site. Again, I don't do where you want to see what you want to see.
Dollar General submitted a request a few years ago. Came up a few years ago. Was it your company that?
On this side,
Ladies and
but I can't hear.
Close to Borough, there's an opportunity a few years ago. Is that Dollar General?
You're talking about the farm at the end of town where the
Yeah.
voting candidate.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, I think the board at that point said, as suggested, considering on the other side of the town, that there'd be a better opportunity. And the response was that there wasn't the traffic for the store.
we can certainly reinvestigate that. This new market concept is totally different from any other. Look, it's totally different than Dollar General. They're cutting off into a market and Walmart. This is totally different. This is destination. Dollar General is more like that.
Okay.
So the other side, I can look up if that was us. If it was Dollar General, that's just over here.
Several parks that they have no access, maybe other than if they walk to Turkey Hill, which is quite a walk. So
That's exactly what the kind of feedback I want your school for some of those. So it needs to set up as one way that we could get yourselves, community members, planning commission all together, so we can maybe try to find different sites and, again, I want to make my life easy. I want to come and say, look, we can do these things.
Well, I don't think we can get the whole board together to do something like that, forum and public meeting requirements. You know, I think, you know, you have some ideas, you could always send them through the manager, you know, to try and start a dialogue, and if there's a request for something, you could always come to planning commission, you know, or the board, ask to be on the agenda at one of those meetings with a sketch plan, or just a, you know, a brief discussion.
I'm going to send Dennis, I think he's filled that.
Yeah, we've done this before. It's basically a pre-application meeting, so with township staff.
Look at it as maybe a couple different sites.
Yeah, and that's fine. I would run everything through Warren, and then he can engage Beth or I as needed, and we'll proceed from there.
Are you at leave now or file or?
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate everyone's time. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for coming out. Thank you. And if anyone has any ideas like that, here to work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We now move to item 3, approve, not approve, an extension of time for Upward Investments Land Development Plan 2022-9, 5064 Horseshoe Pike, tax parcel number 22-3-63, due July 13, 2023. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we have item 4, accept not accept the auditor's report for fiscal year 2022.
I'll accept it.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 5, authorize, not authorize the township solicitor to send the proposed subdivision and land development ordinance salvo revisions to the Chester County Planning Commission and to the Township Planning Commission for review and comment. So I hear a motion to authorize.
I'll make the motion.
Wait, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Item 6, we have approve, not approve resolution 2023-9, awarding diesel fuel contract through Berks County joint purchasing. So I hear a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 7, authorize, not authorize the board chairman to sign the letter of support for a grant application being submitted to Penvest for David Kaufman, 549 Beaver Dam Road, tax parcel 22-7-95.3 for an agricultural conservation project. Do I hear a motion to authorize?
I'll make the motion to authorize. I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Gotta switch page here. Item 8, approve not approve the apparent low bidder for approximately 200,000 linear feet of line painting. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion as well.
I can give you the bid, yeah. So, the sealed bids were opened this morning at 11:15 a.m. in this room by Christy Dusher and Eddie, our executive assistant, and Miranda Acosta, and we received 3 bids for seal coating. The lowest price was $1.64 for 80,000 square yards, for a total bid of $131,920. The next lowest bid is $10,000 more. So I would ask that the board accepts Asphalt Industries as the award for seal.
Lauren, the seal coating is first on the bid results, but in the voting, I think we have the line painting first.
No, line painting is second.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry. All
That's
right.
fine.
But they're opposite on it, as they are.
So we're doing the seal kit.
So that's number 9, not
That's
recommended.
8.
Oh, I'm sorry, line painting, yes, I'm sorry, Christine, I'm not listening tonight. Low bidder is Mid-Atlantic Marketing, and they're at 18 cents per double yellow line, and unit price for single white line is .90, so their total bid would be $30,600. The next bid above it was $31,540. So ask that you approve Mid-Atlantic Marketing as the low bidder for traffic.
Do I hear a motion to approve? For the,
I'll make a motion to approve. I'll second.
all in favor? Now we go to the seal code.
Again, the low bid was Asphalt Industries with a total bid of $131,920. $131,920.
Do I hear a motion to approve asphalt industry?
I'll make a motion to approve. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We go to item 10, approve, not approve the apparent low bidder for snow plow with operator for 2023 to
We have-
2024.
We have received no bid, so we have to rebid again, and then if we receive no bid the second time, we still have to go with the contract.
We'll move to item 11, authorize, not authorize the township manager to sign the authorization for tax liens to be exonerated on 21 trails because they have been removed and the tax is uncollectible. So I hear a motion to authorize.
I'll make a motion to approve. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item 12, grant, not grant, stormwater management waiver request from 20-306.1.j, subsection 1, and 20-306.1.j3 to David and Miriam Stolfus of 807 South Purdell Road, tax parcel 228105, from the drain time for the basin and also for reduced separation distance to groundwater.
And just for the board, I'll give a little background on this. The Stoltzfus own that corner lot. It's actually an existing lot of records that's been out there. Their issue is they have to do stormwater management for the new house they want to build. The problem is the soils underlying that area are not conducive to infiltration because of the proximity to the creek. So they do meet all other stormwater requirements in our ordinance with the exception of the infiltration rate. Didn't quite measure up to what is acceptable for our ordinance. So we are requesting, they're requesting those waivers for those who weren't supporting those, provided that they meet other BMPs that are generally acceptable to meet those criteria when those conditions actually exist on a property. So we're in support of those waivers, given the fact that they're addressing all the other items in our review letter for stormwater management.
Is that only township regs? They don't-
It's only township regs, it does not get into NPDS, right?
Do I hear a motion to grant?
I'll make the motion to approve. I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, we move to item 13, and that is approved, not approved resolution 2023-10, disposition of digitized records. And we should get this once a year, is that right?
So what this step is we are digitizing our records. So as they get digitized, the company that is doing that has our physical copies. They need a resolution from the Board of Supervisors authorizing them to shred these records because they are kept in perpetuity online. This is just the request from our company to allow them to be destroyed. But as Beth can kind of speak to, we have already had a resolution in February that goes for the normal destruction of documents that are outside of the retention area and also kind of oversaw what we're seeking now. This is just actually for Stantec to keep for their records to show proof that the township has acknowledged that we meant to work on digitizing and destroy.
This is a lot more specificity of the exact number of cubic yards and boxes of a specific type of document.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve. I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Item 14, approved, not approved, the partial release of funds for Chestnut Ridge Stage 1, Chestnut and Greason Roads, tax parcel 22-852.3, in the amount of $10,206.04. Go ahead. Any comment on that before?
The only comment is the release release actually pertains to the construction of the trail within phase one, so that's what you had released monies last month as well. So this is another partial release related to the trail within phase one.
I'll second.
Okay, just one question, so, as far as, that's a partial payment, then there's an additional payment coming up for that?
No, I think that releases the portion in phase one. There's also, we're already retaining money for repair, ENS control, and grading and things like that. So there is some areas of stabilization that are necessary that we've already informed the developer about. So there's other monies that are being held for those items, not just the trail construction itself. So the trail being complete, we're releasing those monies, but we're still withholding money for stabilization, grading in and around that area, and also the repair of it, which they'll have to address.
So they are cleaning up that area?
Yes.
All right, I heard a second on this. All in favor? Aye. Item 15, approve, not approve a partial release of funds for Chestnut Ridge Stages 2 and 3 in the amount of $32,235.75.
This release is also similar. This is for the trail portion within phases 2 and 3. In addition, there's also some other grading throughout the lots and seeding and stabilization that's being requested as part of that. So that, which is unrelated to the trail. It's actually other sections of the development.
So, after the cleanup, you go out and verify that it's been cleaned up, and is that the procedure?
Yeah, and actually, they're getting into a time of year with the weather. It's actually getting to the point where seed will germinate. So I would anticipate that grading will be completed very shortly, just given the fact that we have warmer temperatures and we can actually get seed in, and it'll start to, green up. Yeah.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we now go to other new business. I don't see anything on the agenda. Okay, other old business. Now we go to open forum, any other matter. So, okay, I'm going to go to the subject, Jessica, if you want to go approach us, go right ahead.
Hi, Jessica Florio, Honeybrook Borough Council. For the past 10 years, I just want to say thank you for everything y'all do. I know it's not easy. But I just want to bring up police. And we went through this last Saturday with our police chief, and the person I know was in the township was a resident. Both people, the person died, and the guy who ran the chief over, and the girl who over the township. And for a long time, our chief and our police had no problem coming in anytime to help the township out at all. And I think you guys need to get police here because we don't do so much, and the problem is we can't. And we can't arrest people for drugs. The state police can't do any proactive things. I mean, so we're all in this kind of holding pattern, hoping the township will get police finally, especially with the new development and everything else that's happening. I think it's time that this coming budget might have to actually do that and put police in. And even if it's just 1 or 2 full-time officers you start with, whatever it is, but something needs to give, and I think it has to start this year. So that's all. Thank you.
Any reaction on that? Yes, Flora.
Rich Florio, Honeybrook Borough Councilman. I just want to add as well that it's not a cheap discussion that hopefully you're about to have, because we just hired our first full-time police officer in January. Beside our chief. And the salary plus benefits is north of $100,000.
Yes.
Okay? In this day and age, nobody wants to be a police officer, quite frankly, and you can blame them with all the junk that's been going on in politics. But I think it's just as Jessica said, it's time to seriously consider. I know we discussed it with you guys before. that our police chief would be responsible for it, because we're being the supervisor. So,
All right, thank you. All right, on this side over here, any questions? Over here, yes, sir.
And we'll leave 4,000 Tree Lodge Drive. Warren, at each of these meetings, you asked the board to accept your report. Is that report online? Is that something we
It is part of the board package, yes, and there's copies on a key. You can print copies out of the back.
Probably all gone, but.
But yeah, there's copies available. They're part of the meeting minutes.
But they're not online.
Yes, they are.
They are online.
It's on the agenda.
It's
It's a 35-page agenda.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
Susan Jones again.
Yes.
Just again, support the police. You were stating that there may have to be, or there should be a traffic impact study done up there for 322 and Chestnut Street. If the light up there is going to go in because of the development from Horton, I've worked in municipalities before where the commissioners and the supervisors asked the neighbors, said, you know, we're going to do this development for you, we need a traffic impact study. I would respectfully request that you have a builder pay for it instead of coming out of taxes. And paving of 322, I saw PennDOT out there with like a liquid, they were filling in cracks along, like from Earth Care up to Burdell, right? Burdell, yeah. And they were doing a little bit on this side, but that indentation, which reminds me of the old trolley tracks in Philadelphia, in the center is still there. Is PennDOT, is that part of the paving to be done? Because from Earth Care up to that road right there is a horrendous, and Tracy, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a mess right there. Is that something that we consider, excuse me, when they do repave?
That's a PennDOT road, so the work that we did today is for Township Road, which was 322.
Okay, who puts in the request for that?
PennDOT has the schedule.
Okay, all right.
And you can call into PennDOT, and there's a, Christie probably knows the number. There's a way.
1-800-FIX-ROAD.
Oh, I've gotten that, okay. All right, yeah, because I had written to the township, questioning about the traffic light at 322, and I got the email back saying, you have to contact PennDOT. And then PennDOT says, well, I'll pass it on, and Senator Moose's office said to me, when they sent me an email, and they said, the township needs to initiate it. So I just want to make sure that, you know, I get an email saying, from the township saying, oh, PennDOT's got to initiate it, and then I get another letter back and saying the township did. So somebody definitely needs, I'm glad to see that at least being started.
Thank you. Do I hear any more comments? Yes, go ahead.
Renee Cregan. John, we spoke at the last workshop, previous to the one that was canceled, about Ann Hutchinson. You went on a Zoom meeting. I was wondering what the results were in regards to that. And then, Warren, you had brought up the sketch plan for the Foxbrook development. Who is paying for the sketch plan? And then where's the funding for this possible park coming from?
For the first question, I did speak to Ann Hutchinson. So we went through some of the ordinances, and she said, you know, these are some areas that you want to focus on from the environmental concerns. So overall, she said that we did put in some good opportunities for environmental protection. That was during the last comp plan update. And so we received some recommendations from Ann.
Can you find them somewhere, the recommendation?
Yes, I believe it did, that forwarded by, that forwarded in the email.
You sent it to the board of supervisors an email.
Give those recommendations, so we can, make a,
You can share them with Renee. I mean, you sent the email, you're welcome to.
yes, okay. Just want to make sure we're on good footing here. So, if you can send me an email, I can forward that to you. Okay, 2 questions. I think.
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead, you go.
Are you sure?
Positive. I might be a little bit. You might be a little bit.
I'm sorry, yes, I cut off the second question. Sorry, go ahead.
for the sketch plan is about $1,000. As it relates to funding, if the township would like to go through it, there would be grants from Chester County to purchase land and develop park land. And the Division of Conservation and Natural Resources offers grants as well to develop park lands.
Are these going to be matching grants, or?
We're not there yet. Typically, they can co-match, so the county can put up funds and you send our funds to match it. So until there's further consideration, they haven't been funding yet, but there are grants that are available to develop parks in the cost to townships.
May
Go ahead.
Hi, Sherry Dursheimer, 420 Stevens. As Mark said, I am a member of the Foxborough Homeowners Association. There was a walkthrough in the beginning of April, just the township doing its due diligence, reviewing the land and seeing what possibly could be developed there. Just want to say that we are, as a homeowners association, still 100% opposed to any development there. Wouldn't be opposed to a field of wildflowers with a back park bench. That would be awesome. I just hope that you take into consideration our concerns regarding the Amish farm right across the street and disruption to them, the safety issues on Pula Road, increasingly high traffic volume, the speed at which the cars travel. There is a very real safety consideration. We do not have a police presence, so there's no one to patrol the area and maybe keep it safe for us and our homes. And basically the aesthetic aspect as well. We've lived here for over 20 years. We realized it was a continuing offer, but we've become used to our blue collar views, and we do appreciate them, and the land is really not that large. So hopefully you take that into consideration.
Thank you for your comment. Can I have a comment? Yes. Well,
Thank you. I have flyers.
we do have a 3-minute.
This doesn't count toward my 3 minutes, does it?
I think so. We'll have to make sure we keep up with it.
That doesn't have to be. So I'm not going to talk about the police or anything. I'm going to talk about the environment, even though I'd like to talk about the police and the parks and everything else that everyone said, which I agree with fully. I want to address some concerns about the potential DR Court development. I realize no action has been taken officially any further than it's gone. I'm not going to be around for a little bit, so I wanted to make sure everybody gets this information. I'm actually glad Gary's here because this should be going to the planning commission, but I won't be able to present that to him. So this pertains mostly to you, Mike. Being stewards of the environment, as we all are, especially our 3 supervisors, you swore an oath to uphold the Constitution of Pennsylvania, which has a lot to do with the environment. So I found out a couple of things that Theo Howell did or did not do in regard to that parcel. And I wish I would have found this out before it went through zoning, because it could have changed some things. Maybe, maybe not. If you refer to picture 1, that's D.L. Howell's plan, SK1M, dated 1/12/22. I have the full plan here, by the way, if you want to see the full plan. I just moved that part up so we can see it. So on that plan that they submitted to the township, I got this from the township, they stated that there was 18.891 acres of floodplain on that Chestnut Tree parcel. That was on 112. On 3/3/22, when they changed from single-family homes to the duplexes, mysteriously, that changed to 9 acres. And 9 acres went over to the other parcel. So I'd like to know how that happens. You can build 1 house or 1 million houses, but the net acres should not change. Am I correct? Okay, so I'd like someone to look into that, because everyone keeps saying Army Corps of Engineers is gonna come and do this survey. Do we contact them, or does DR Horton contact the Army Corps to come in and do an official wetlands study? Does anybody know that?
The process steps, I think we have gone through, but I don't know, step by step. I think once we get started, there's development that's been approved or at least initiated.
Yeah, I'll follow your lead, John, because I thought the public wasn't supposed to direct questions.
Yeah,
so kind of waiting. The answer to that is the developer has to submit the information for our review. We confirm, verify what they've submitted, and either make comment on it or confirm that what they're showing is accurate. After that's done, then the Army Corps would receive that information and they would conduct another review. They will then have either comments related to the information submitted, or they'll issue a determination saying we agree with what was submitted by the developer. The key part of the whole thing, though, is we had a 36-page review letter for zoning. One of the comments was that the net lot area of that tract has never been verified and provided to our office for review and confirmation. So all the issues related to floodplain and wetlands and everything else have yet to be confirmed, or insufficient evidence has been provided to us in order for us to confirm that the net lot area is accurate. So that's ongoing. We haven't received it, and as a matter of fact, staff, we've told the developer this, I believe on 3 occasions at least, including their attorney, that we need this information in order to complete that review.
That's great. That's what I'm looking for, is to make sure someone follows up, and we're not just taking Neil Howell's word for it.
Just one point of order that, I mean, I have quite a lot here. I mean, this would be a good topic to present to us at the workshop. And give us that opportunity so that we can give you the time you need to present.
I'm not gonna be around for about 6 months, so I just want to get this information out there.
So I give you another 30 seconds.
And I apologize for that, and I apologize for my horse throat, I apologize. Anyway, so secondly, another thing I noticed that they omitted from the year plan, and I realize that this is all ongoing, but there's a water course, which Mike knows a water course is a stream, basically, having defined bed banks, natural or artificial, perennial, intermittent flow. So neither one of their plans there's a water flow all along Chestnut Tree Road. That's not shown on their plan, anybody's plan. And that's picture 3, 4, and 5. That water doesn't stop. So that's not a storm drain. That's an actual stream. And streams, there's different special rules that pertain to streams when it comes to what you can do and can't do. So on their plans, they don't show anything about that stream.
All right.
And that's right where they're crossing their road to go in there.
Just give it a chance to wrap it up.
Okay, but they didn't show that, neither did Dubois, who did the wetland study supposedly. So why either one of those reputable firms did see a water course and couldn't define it as a water course is beyond me. So I'm just letting the township know that you can go and you can define that as a floodway or floodplain according to our ordinances. That's why that road always gets icy in the winter, because it dams up and the water keeps flowing out there and it freezes. And that's right where they want to put their driveway in. And so numbers, you can see the other two, I didn't get this page, I apologize.
All right, so you have 2 more to cover, because
Can I go by 2.5 minutes?
Yeah.
Mr. Hodges?
seconds.
It's just 2 more quick things. You'll be familiar with that. That's the third most highest ranking land in Huntington. That's according to you guys. Your committee ranked all land in Huntington for natural resources. And that's 1 of 3 in the entire township. So I just want to make sure we're all on top of this, and we're just not going to let Neil Howell come in and say this. Okay.
You can provide us with this, and then we had another report came in, and you start putting that together. It will be valuable to us.
Okay, thank you. As far as being, I do appreciate your time, thank you. As far as being dry, if you look at that picture 7, it's kind of funny, but that's the machine they use to cut the grass there. It's called a swamp master, marsh buggy. Thank you.
Do I hear any, do we have any more? Yes, please.
I just wanted to point out, on your newsletter, you guys have the mission statement for the Board of Supervisors of Brook Township shall be to provide municipal services related to land use, police protection, and public works in order to maintain a community that supports a tranquil and rural way of life. I want to emphasize police protection. Please don't let that woman's life and that police chief who could have died in that situation, God knows, it's a miracle he's alive. Don't let that happen again.
Any other concluding remarks? I see one more.
Hi, I'm Mike Cody, 28 in Court, a member of the Brook community. I have three things actually, if I could ask during these meetings. I'm kind of hard of hearing, and I'm having a wicked hard time hearing. So it's people that are speaking, especially, if you're just saying yay, no, whatever, I can understand what that is. But when it's a conversation, I can't hear the whole thing. So if you could help me out with that and speak to the microphone, that helps me hear. Thank you. Then you had made mention about there's released funds for the trail. A part of that release, according to the last time that we met, right, was that they had to do some tree cleanup. As far as I know, that tree cleanup hasn't happened yet, just so you know. And then, this is by proxy, because Bob couldn't make it tonight, but he was just wondering if we've taken up the offer by Ann Hutchinson of the CC Land Preservation to do the HR Horton lot survey. And if it's yes, thank you. If it's no, why?
Well, that's the thing we can bring up on this workshop meeting.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Do I hear another question?
Okay, so Renee Cregan, in regards to Ann Hutchinson, I was told at the last previous meeting that we would know the results at the workshop. But it wasn't on the agenda for the workshop, so the workshop didn't happen.
Yes.
So will we know, and will it be on the agenda for the next workshop, so we can all attend the workshop and all know?
Okay. We should have the agenda published at least 48 hours.
24.
Was it?
24.
Is the requirement?
Correct.
Okay. Can we have it up there 48 hours?
Well, sometimes we don't.
We do. But in a case like this, it is helpful, and we get it up there by Monday. All right. I do see another hand going up, yes.
Just one statement, I'm sorry, I forgot. With regards to the police, Kugler Road has become a racetrack
Yeah.
by a couple vehicles, and, calling to say police, they're gone by the time, they get there. And I mean, I'm talking 55 miles an hour or more. It's just, and at the corner, when they're peeling around the corner, I'm on the corner of Kugler. Thank heavens I have a boulder wall up there that's been there before I even moved in. I've had a car hit that boulder wall so hard that a couple of the boulders flew into my driveway, which is 50 feet or more, but flew in. Thank God my classic cars wasn't sitting in the driveway, it would have gotten hit. Another time I've had a truck overturned in the ditch that's in front of my house. It's, like I said, if police are there, it's something that can be. Somebody's going to be, I don't run across the street when I'm going to Little Anthony's. I kind of walk slow at my age. But I'm afraid sometime I'm just waiting for it. Somebody's going to be hit.
We did have an opportunity on Morgantown Road. We did have some residents speak to us about that, and we passed that on to the state police. So they increased their patrol of Morgantown Road. Apparently it did make a difference in helping easing some of the traffic going through there.
It's from Kuzula. It's Kuzula Road from 322 to
Chestnut Street.
Yeah, that whole section.
Morgantown Road's not here.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm aware of that. And residents did come in from that street. And we did respond by notifying the state police, and the residents did come back and say they noticed, there's some slowing down because some tickets had been written along Morgantown Road. But that's only one road. All right. Questions, comments before we wrap it up for tonight? Let's see one more.
So, I'm trying to understand it. It's more of a agenda for you guys to get these parts up instead of worrying about getting us police. Secondly, I thought Laura and Tracy was very disrespectful on you as far as showing some items in regards to, the environmental slides that you had provided, especially since the two of them don't really want it. And I just wanted to say that, they could stay for 2 minutes and see your presentation and know what it's about, instead of sitting there and saying, I don't know what this is about. No, it's not good. I don't want it. That's all I want to say.
Good comment. Again, I'll give it one more time. Anyone in the back that we missed?
Could I have a quick 10-second follow-up? 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Indulge again, yes, go ahead.
Is that okay?
Yes.
So I realize, Mike, that everything is preliminary, but isn't the preliminary plans what you all base all of your decisions on to move something forward? Gary's planning 39 acres of open space and there might not even be. So why don't you make the builders come up with something more definite and get the answers from the Army Corps of Engineers and whatever we need to get so you can make an educated decision on the future of Honeybrook?
One of the things that, to your point, that on the comp plan, and I believe it's page 126, it says in there that the township supervisors can provide education to the community. So we initiated that at the end of one of the workshop meetings, we covered the climate action plan. So hearing some of the questions tonight, I think that might be something that we can do at the conclusion of one of our workshop meetings to talk about the procedures of developments coming through, if that might be helpful. And then have something solid to work on.
And possibly an environmental committee, so they can inform you on things you don't have to worry about going out and locating and looking up yourself.
I have one last thing.
Thank you.
Promise, it'll take 10 seconds. Okay, so one of the things that I know people get scared of, because we've been on council for 10 years, I get it, is raising taxes. We've had to do it in order to keep our police, our fire, our ambulance, all the things going. But I'm telling you, our residents have never complained of raising the taxes a little bit here and there because it gets them the services they need. And so I know that they're probably apprehensive because it's going to be a tax increase of some sort. So if the residents come together and let them know that they don't mind it, you have to kind of let them know, not just about police, but that you're willing to take any kind of increase in taxes. So just think that through.
Yeah, we already have.
Just
Mike?
I have one more comment just to address in the back.
Yes, go ahead.
And I think it's important for everybody in the public to understand something. If everyone knows, I know the concerns about the overwork, they're very well presented by everyone. But if you've also noticed, we haven't seen them for how many months now? There's a reason for that. And the reason is because the reviews that have been done by the township staffs has put them in a situation where they have to revise the layout that they had previously submitted. That won't come to the supervisors here until we're satisfied from an ordinance standpoint that they comply with all of our ordinances. That includes all the environmental issues that you noted, the wetlands, the floodplain, the water courses. We're not satisfied yet, okay? And because we're not satisfied with that yet, that's why they haven't brought back another plan yet, okay? So the number of units is still in question. We've had back and forth meetings with their attorneys and their engineer. We've presented our case with how we interpret the ordinance, with what we reviewed to this point, the deficiencies in what we reviewed to this point, and we provided that to the developer. So it may take some time for them to go through all of that, resubmit back to us. You may not see this plan again for a few months. I don't know what their timing is. ordinance. It's in their court at this point. So I just wanted you to understand that I'm not discounting any of the issues that you brought forward. However, they're all reflected in the review that we already did.
So you knew there was a water course there?
That's a comment in the review letter.
I'm sorry?
They haven't confirmed that. We're still waiting on that information. That's an outstanding item that they have not satisfied.
Yeah, the fact that they submitted a preliminary plan, that does not mean that's what's going to get approved. They're
Correct.
going to revise that many times before they, have something that's even arguably compliant with our ordinances.
I do understand that, but like I said, when I went through the zoning hearing and I presented all this, I wish I would have known that, because as a board, you need to have the correct information to render the correct decision. If the zoning board would have known that they are messing around with the numbers, and Dubois was messing around not saying there's a water course, and they knew that there's a water course there and they didn't show it on their plan, all that goes to the decision making on should you let them move forward or not. I know these plans are not final, I know that. But don't you think they should have the pertinent information on it for you to render an educated decision?
Yes, I do have one more comment over here.
I'm Maureen McHugh, 116 Stinson. I guess my question is, how long do you wait for someone to fix their idea of viable plans? What if you had another viable buyer that came along? They're not able to bid on that, or say, what if somebody did want to step forward and just buy it? There's more ethical, I'm going to use that word, maybe more ethical, have more integrity, and would be caring more about that piece of land versus all these mistakes that I'm hearing. How long do we wait for this D.R. Horton to fix it? And then, we just let them buy this property and think they're going to follow through with integrity and do things correctly? That's just my thoughts.
All right, thank you. On Zoom, do we have any comments before we close?
Nobody left on Zoom.
All right, thank you. All right. Looking at what's left on the agenda, do I hear the motions to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, upcoming meetings, we have April 17th, zoning hearing board, April 18th, Back Commission, April 20th, preparation for March, April 26th, zoning. Anything you want.